Hi, welcome back to my channel. It's Simon here again. This week talking about the lunar eclipse that is happening in the early hours of Friday morning, Friday the 28th of August. That's this week. So maybe have a think about setting an alarm for it or staying up all night and seeing it. I think you'll need to look at the southwest horizon to see it properly, but it should be a good one. It's going to be blood red or copper red, and it's about a 93 or 95% totality. So yeah, it's one to look out for. Anyway, so I've put together an activities session to go with the lunar eclipse. So we're going to look at some facts about the moon and about eclipses. We'll look at the moon in art and literature and TV and movies. And also we'll look at some moon music. As usual, there are a few songs to sing along with, and also a couple of really interesting video clips. So I hope you enjoy this one. If you do, please give me a like and leave a comment below. That really helps my channel out. So I'll catch you later. Bye for now. So I bring you some exciting news. There's a lunar eclipse in the UK on Friday the 28th of August this year, this week. It's in the early hours from around 4 AM to 5:30 AM with maximum eclipse at about 5:15. Look towards the west-southwest horizon. You'll see a deep partial eclipse with up to 93% of the moon covered, and it will appear a stunning coppery red. How exciting! By the way, there's no need to wear any special glasses. It's safe to view with the naked eye, binoculars, or even a telescope. Who's going to stay up for it or wake up early for it? Let me know in the comments below. I'd love to hear from you. Maybe we could share stories. So what is a lunar eclipse? And what happens? So a lunar eclipse happens when the Earth comes between the Sun and the Moon. The Earth's shadow falls on the Moon and sometimes partly covers it. It only ever happens at a full moon when the Sun, Earth and Moon line up in space. The stages of a lunar eclipse are: it begins, the penumbra, the partial eclipse, where the Earth's shadow starts to cover the moon, and then more of the moon is covered, and then you get maximum eclipse. The moon is deepest in the Earth's shadow, and it may turn red, and it will do this year, apparently. And then the eclipse begins to end. The shadow starts to move off the moon, and then the moon is back to normal. So it should be a good one. Who's excited for it? I really am. I think the lunar solar eclipse a couple of weeks ago was a little bit disappointing for me. So I'm really looking forward to this one. So why is the moon important to us? It's always there up in the sky. It's a big part of our life without us really realizing it. The moon controls our tides. It gently pulls on Earth's oceans, causing them to rise and fall every day, twice a day in fact. The moon helps us keep time. Our months are based on the moon's cycles, and many calendars, festivals and traditions follow the phases of the moon. The moon has guided us and inspired us for generations. It's helped people navigate, tell the time at night, and it's inspired stories, poems, songs, and works of art. And we'll look at some of those later on. And obviously it lights up the night sky. It helps plants, animals and people when the sun goes down. The moon affects nature. Many animals change their behaviour with the moon's light, especially at a full moon. It helps life on Earth, keeps the Earth steady on its axis, and gives us a stable climate and the seasons that we enjoy. It's our cosmic companion, our nearest neighbour in space, and the first place humans explored beyond Earth. And it brings us together, whether we see a crescent, full moon or eclipse. The moon is something we all share and wonder at. Indeed, we couldn't live without it. So here are some facts about the moon. To begin with, let's look at the phases. There's the new moon, a waxing crescent moon, a first quarter moon, a waxing gibbous moon, and then the full moon. And then going back the other way, a waning gibbous moon, a last quarter moon, and a waning crescent moon. The moon can appear to be different colours. The most common is white or silver. But the moon can appear yellow or gold, especially when it's near the horizon. It can appear orange when light passes through more of Earth's atmosphere, or where there's sand in the atmosphere. We'll see a blood red moon this week during a lunar eclipse. A blue moon isn't really blue. It's a rare second full moon in the same calendar month. A grey moon, well, the moon can look grey when clouds or haze are in the sky. And then going back to a golden yellowish moon and picking up that point about dust, pollution and moisture in the air. There are also calendar names for the full moons of the year. January is the wolf moon, February the snow moon, March the worm moon, April pink moon, May flower moon, June strawberry moon, July buck moon, August is sturgeon moon, September is harvest moon, October hunter's moon, November beaver moon, and December cold moon. So you can see how those names are associated with what's going on in nature. Amazingly, there are also moon rainbows or moonbows, halos and coronas. So a moonbow is a rainbow made by moonlight rather than sunlight. It forms when moonlight is bent, reflected and refracted through tiny water droplets in the air. You can see it near waterfalls, sometimes in rain or sea spray or mist. But the colours are usually very faint to the human eye and may just look white. It's best seen when the full moon is behind you and water droplets are in front. A lunar halo is an icy circle. It's a large ring around the moon caused by moonlight passing through ice crystals in high, thin clouds. The most common halo is 22 degrees across, but other halos and arcs can sometimes appear. The halos are usually white or pale and not coloured. And finally, you can get a lunar corona, where the moon has a colourful crown. It's caused by diffraction of moonlight through very tiny water droplets in thin cloud. The colours are usually in rings, red on the inside, then orange, yellow, green, blue and violet, the same colours as in a rainbow. Coronas can change size and may disappear quickly as cloud cover moves. So has anyone seen any of these phenomena? I'd love to hear from you if you have. Over many generations or even millennia, the moon has been associated with folklore and rhyme. So here's a few folklore and beliefs about the moon. Many cultures believed there is a man in the moon or a rabbit living on the moon because its features can appear to look a little like a face. Strong associations with the wolf and the moon, and folklore says the howling of wolves is linked to the full moon, and that's probably where the stories about werewolves come from. Moon magic, the full moon, is often connected with magic, mystery, and special powers in many old tales. Farmers once relied on the moon to help decide when to plant and harvest their crops. And the one we've all heard of, I'm sure, is that the moon is made of cheese. For centuries people have joked that the moon is made of green cheese because people just didn't know what it was made of, what substance it was made of. And maybe some of those colours that we looked at earlier on led to that belief. Thinking of nursery rhymes, we've got Hey Diddle Diddle, The Man in the Moon, Row, Row, Row Your Boat, and Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star. I'm sure you're all familiar with those. And then there are some sayings that are really deeply embedded in our traditions. Once in a blue moon, something that happens very rarely. Over the moon, feeling very happy or delighted. Shoot for the moon, aiming for something great or ambitious. Moonlighting, doing a second job in the evening perhaps. And then even the word lunatic comes from the Latin word for the moon, luna. And people once believed the moon affected behaviour. So the moon's watched over us for thousands of years, brightening our nights, inspiring our stories, and guiding our dreams. Let's look at a couple of those rhymes and poems in a bit more detail. So the first memory challenge is to say together the nursery rhyme, Hey Diddle Diddle. Maybe if you're with family and friends, you could say it out loud together. And then you could have a discussion about just what the hell it means. Anyway, you could pause the video at any time and have a think or a chat. So the poem I chose is The Owl and the Pussycat, a much-loved nonsense poem written by Edward Lear in 1871. It tells the whimsical story of an owl and a pussycat who sail away in a beautiful pea-green boat for the honeymoon. Can anyone remember any of the lines from the poem? Some of us, including my husband, remembered and learnt this poem in school, line by line, and he can still say it in full today. But if you can't remember it, I've got a video version of it now that I'd like to play for you.
The owl and the pussycat went to sea in a beautiful pea-green boat. They took some honey and plenty of money wrapped up in a 5-pound note. The owl looked up to the stars above and sang to a small guitar. Oh, lovely pussy, oh, pussy, my love, what a beautiful pussy you are, you are. What a beautiful pussy you are. Pussy said to the owl, You elegant fowl, how charmingly sweetly you sing. Oh, let us be married, too long we have tarried, but what shall we do for a ring? They sailed away for a year and a day to the land where the bong tree grows. And there in a wood, a piggy-wig stood with a ring at the end of his nose, with a ring at the end of his nose. "Dear pig, are you willing to sell for 1 shilling your ring?" Said the piggy, "I will." So they took it away and were married next day by the turkey who lives on the hill. They dined on mince and slices of quince, which they ate with a runcible spoon. And hand in hand on the edge of the sand they danced by the light of the moon. The moon, they danced by the light of the moon.
Next up is a moon word challenge. So the idea is, from the images, you have to guess at the moon word or words. So you could pause the video here and have a little think. What do these images convey? We'll have a look at the answers in a short while. So here are the words. How many of them did you get? The first one was moonlit. Second was moonlighting. Third was honeymoon. Fourth was moonwalk. Fifth was moonshine. Sixth was moonstone. And then we've got full moon, total eclipse, blue moon, moonrise, crescent moon, and half moon. How did you do? Let me know in the comments below. I'm sure there's lots of other moon words. If you can think of any others, drop me a line. So next I wanted to look at the moon in arts and literature. For centuries, the moon has inspired painters, poets, novelists and storytellers. Sometimes romantic, sometimes mysterious, sometimes completely fantastical. So let's look at some paintings. We've got Vincent van Gogh's The Starry Night, painted in 1889 from his mental health hospital room. We've got J.M.W. Turner's Fisherman at Sea and Henry Rousseau's The Sleeping Gypsy. And thinking about the moon in literature, we've got Jules Verne's From the Earth to the Moon, H.G. Wells's The First Men in the Moon, and as I've just read, or had read, The Owl and the Pussycat by Edward Lear. And also, there's a Shakespeare reference. In Romeo and Juliet, Romeo tries to swear his love by yonder blessed moon. But Juliet warns him not to swear by the changeable moon. So can you think of a painting, poem, book or story featuring the moon? Have a think and a chat. So I thought it was time for a song break. And what better song to choose than Vincent, Starry, Starry Night by Don McLean. A beautiful song based on Van Gogh's life. Let's hear it and maybe sing along with the lyrics. I've included a lyric video for your enjoyment.
Starry, starry night, paint your palette blue and gray. Look out on a summer's day with eyes that know the darkness in my soul. Shadows on the hills, sketch the trees and the daffodils, catch the breeze and the winter chills in colors on the snowy linen land. Now I understand what you tried to say to me, and how you suffered for your sanity, and how you tried to set them free. They would not listen, they did not know how. Perhaps they'll listen now. Starry, starry night, flaming flowers that brightly blaze, swirling clouds in violet haze, reflect in Vincent's eyes of china blue, colors changing hue. Morning fields of amber grain, weathered faces lined in pain, are soothed beneath the artist's loving hand. Now I understand what you tried to say to me, and how you suffered for your sanity, and how you tried to set them free. They would not listen, they did not know how. Perhaps they'll listen now, for they could not love you, but still your love was true. And when no hope was left inside on that starry, starry night, you took your life as lovers often do. But I could have told you, Vincent, this world was never meant for one as beautiful as you. Starry, starry night, portraits hung in empty halls, frameless heads on nameless walls, with eyes that watch the world and can't forget, like the strangers that you've met, the ragged men in ragged clothes, a silver thorn, a bloody rose, lie crushed and broken on the virgin snow. Now I think I know what you tried to say to me, and how you suffered for your sanity, and how you tried to set them free. They would not listen, they're not listening still. Perhaps they never
Our next memory challenge is to think about some TV shows and movies which are associated with the moon. So how many of these TV programs and movies can you name? Again, don't forget you can stop the video at any time if you needed to have a bit more of a think or a chat. So here are the answers. We had The Clangers and The Soup Dragon, UFO, the TV series with the shadow moon base, Doctor Who, and I think that's Tom Baker, and a lot of the episodes were actually centred around the moon, including I think the Cybermen. Then we've got E.T. the extraterrestrial, and that famous scene where Elliot has E.T. in his bike basket and they fly across the moon. Then A Grand Day Out, a Wallace and Gromit short film. And finally, a brilliant movie, Apollo 13, about the failed mission to the moon. Starring Bill Paxton, Kevin Bacon and Tom Hanks. And here's another movie associated with the moon. How many of you can name this one and name the pub as well? And when does this horror creature become so? So that movie was An American Werewolf in London. The name of the pub was The Slaughtered Lamb. and a werewolf becomes a werewolf at a full moon. But I wanted to step back a bit, and maybe this is one of the first movies that was made about the moon, and it's called Le Voyage dans la Lune, A Trip to the Moon, by the movie maker Georges Méliès. So it's a 1902 silent film, and it's one of the earliest examples of science fiction in cinema, and it really was a landmark in film history. Méliès used extraordinary theatrical tricks and special effects, such as stop trick, double exposure, miniatures, and painted backdrops, to bring his fantastic story to life. The film follows a group of astronomers who travel to the moon in a cannon-launched capsule, exploring its strange landscape and the moon's inhabitants. The image of the rocket in the man in the moon's eye is perhaps one of the most iconic moments in cinema history. So let's take a look at a clip from that movie. It's fantastic. Okay, so we've just looked at a movie which imagined what going to the moon would be like back from 1902. Let's look at what it was really like. So let's talk about exploring our moon. In 1609, Galileo Galilei was the first to use a telescope to look at the moon and saw mountains, craters, and valleys. But it wasn't until 1969, on July the 20th, that Apollo 11 took man to the moon, and Neil Armstrong became the first man to walk on the moon. That's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind. And then in 1971, Apollo 15, 16 and 17 astronauts drove lunar rovers exploring more of the moon's surface. And now in the 2020s, we have the Artemis program, which is a new era of exploration. And Artemis missions will take humans back to the moon and beyond, with the thinking being that the moon could be a base for Mars exploration. How exciting! So let's look at a video of Apollo 11 and the moon landing and what it was really like.
there, Capcom on the hot fire. Okay, all flight controllers going around the horn, gonna go for undocking. Okay, Retro, go. Fido, go. Guide, go. Control, go. Telcom, go. Jinsei, go. Ecom, go. Surgeon, go. Capcom, we're go for undocking.
Armstrong, Aldrin, and Collins arrived at the moon on Saturday, July 19th.
When we did get close and we rolled out and saw it for the first time, it was a revelation. It was gigantic. It filled our entire window.
The next day, Sunday, July 20th, was landing day.
In a lot of anticipation, we finally come to the day, the moment that this is about to commence.
Landing on the moon was absolutely the most difficult piece of any Apollo mission, okay? Think about it as a controlled fall out of lunar orbit. The problem is, in this controlled fall out of orbit, you only have enough fuel for one try.
Capcom, we're go for landing. Altitude 4,200. Houston, you're go for landing, over.
The trajectory had been wrong. They were targeted into this inhospitable place. Then they had to fly over this area at a high forward velocity, then pitch up to slow down so that kill that forward velocity, and then start down like a helicopter. So now we're critical fuel state. And that's why the 60-second call was given, and then the 30-second call.
Then I really got nervous, was calling out 25 seconds of fuel left, and then 20 seconds of fuel. Oh, jeez.
Okay, engine stop. APA at a descent. Mode control both auto, descent engine command override off. Engine arm off. 413 is in.
We copy you down, Eagle.
Houston, Tranquility Base here. The Eagle has landed.
Roger, Tranquility. We copy you on the ground. You got a bunch of guys about to turn blue. We're breathing again. Thanks a lot.
The landing to me was a great celebration. The nation was almost euphoric.
Well, it proved that the United States could accomplish tremendous goals if they worked together as a team.
So I've got another memory challenge for you, and this time it's to complete the names of pieces of music and songs. So see how you get on. You could pause the video if you wanted to have a think. Maybe you could write the answers down if you wanted to. So I'll read out the artist and the name of the song with the last word missing for you to fill in. So Claude Debussy, Claire de Glenn Miller, Moonlight. The Marcels, Blue. Audrey Hepburn, Moon. Frank Sinatra, Fly Me to the. Creedence Clearwater Revival, Bad Moon. Van Morrison, Moon. Elton John, Rocket. Neil Young, Harvest. Jimmy Webb, The Moon is a Harsh. The Police, Walking on the. Shirley Bassey, Moon. Bonnie Tyler, Total Eclipse of the. REM, The Man on the. And finally, Top Loader, Dancing in the. So here are the answers. Clair de Lune by Claude Debussy. Moonlight Serenade by Glenn Miller. Blue Moon by the Marcels. Moon River by Audrey Hepburn from the movie Breakfast at Tiffany's. Fly Me to the Moon by Frank Sinatra. Bad Moon Rising by Creedence Clearwater Revival. Moon Dance by Van Morrison. Rocket Man by Elton John. Harvest Moon by Neil Young, The Moon is a Harsh Mistress by Jimmy Webb, Walking on the Moon by The Police, Moonraker, Shirley Bassey's James Bond theme song, Total Eclipse of the Heart by Bonnie Tyler, The Man on the Moon by R.E.M., and finally Dancing in the Moonlight by Toploader. Now if you've got time after the video finishes, you could make some moon art. You could make a painting or a collage. Or you could do some printing with sponges, potatoes or cardboard. You could make some textured art or art with chalk or pastels, or maybe a mix of all of them. There aren't any mistakes, just creative choices. And you can try using different colours for the moon in the shades that we've talked about, adding stars, planets or trees to complete your picture. Most importantly, have some fun and be proud of your moon art. And also, if you are going to do a creative activity, you could play some of that music that we've just listed. Either way, enjoy. So as usual, I'm going to play some songs to finish. And just to remind you that my web address is www.cstsongoftheday.co.uk, where you'll find a daily activities session and song recommendations for cognitive stimulation and enjoyment. So we're going to have a sing-along to Fly Me to the Moon by Frank Sinatra. And here's a lyric video to help us along.
Fly me to the moon, let me play among the stars, and let me see what spring is like on Jupiter and Mars. In other words, hold my hand. In other words, baby, kiss me. Fill my heart with song and let me sing forevermore. You are all I long for, all I worship and adore. In other words, please be true. In other words, I love you. With song, let me sing forevermore. You are all I long for, all I worship and adore. In other words, please be true. In other words, I love you.
So there's one more song to come, but before we hear that and sing along with it, I'd just like to say, if you've got this far, thanks for watching. Do enjoy the lunar eclipse on Friday morning, early hours, and that you can support my channel with likes, comments especially work apparently, sharing it round a bit so other people get to know about this free resource. And if you haven't already, you can subscribe to my channel. And if you did want to support my costs, you can buy me a coffee at the web address there. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you all next week. Bye for now. Have a great week. Have a fantastic lunar eclipse. So our final song is Moon River by Andy Williams, a real crooner. It's an opportunity for us to have a really good sing-along. It was written by Johnny Mercer with music by Henry Mancini for the 1961 film, one of my favourites, Breakfast at Tiffany's, starring Audrey Hepburn. Andy Williams recorded it in 1962 and it became one of his signature songs. It won the Academy Award for Best Original Song in 1962 and a Grammy Award, and reached number 3 on the Billboard Hot 100 chart. It's a timeless classic, loved by generations. Here it is.
Moon River, wider than a mile, I'm crossing you in style someday. Oh, dream maker, you heartbreaker, wherever you're going, I'm going your way. Two drifters off to see the world, there's such a lot of world to see. We're after the same rainbow's end, waiting round the bend, my huckleberry friend, Moon River, and me. Oh, dream maker, you heartbreaker, wherever you're going, I'm going your way. Two drifters off to see the world, there's such a lot of world to see. That same rainbow's end, waiting round the bend, my huckleberry friend.